welcome back. And we're moving into our final segment for today as we discuss an upcoming fundraiser for the Pallotti Sisters. We have with us on set, we have Sister Consuela Burgos, we have Sister Benedict Habet, and we have Miss Beatrice Roberto with us to be able to talk about the work of the Pallotti Sisters and, of course, your upcoming fundraiser as well. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Now, let's step back a bit into your background and to the work of the Pallotti Sisters here in Belize. Of course, you have your flagship educational institution, Pallotti High School, which is where a lot of people build the association. But your work extends beyond just the work at the high school itself. So let's talk about the history.
Well, Pallotti Convent more started the foundation in 1953 and it finished in 1957. And as soon as it was built, that's where our education began, with young women who wanted an education but couldn't go to another high school. And so they asked the sisters, please, can we do something for them? And that's where it really began. On the first floor and on our attic. They had 2 classes on the first floor, right? And
yes,
when they have to go to the attic, they carry their chairs and they go up to the attic. And it really started with home economics, food and nutrition, and clothing and textile. At the time, that wasn't the name, but that's the present name, no?
Yeah.
And this is where the girls began. And little by little, then they decided, we want more than this. We want a little typing, we want a little English, and so it expanded till it is what it is today, Pallotti High School. So that's just a little summary of it. Sister Benedict can add to that.
Go ahead. Let's tap into your history.
I was called to Pallotti High School January 1962, right after Hurricane Hattie. By that time, we already had the existing building, and it was very well established. And to go back to the history of the sisters, we, besides the high school, we also did visiting the villages. Remember, we had some lay people, we were called lay apostles, road apostles. When we couldn't use our vehicle, we would borrow somebody's truck or somebody's vehicle. And many times business people would say, sister, I'm sorry, my truck doesn't have a license to take passengers. So we got any vehicle that was available. And I remember one was Justo Castillo with his wife. Their son Greg, who later became a doctor, Dr. Greg Castillo. We used to pack our lunch, go up the road Sunday morning, give instructions to children. Was it at Sand Hill? After lunch, we would pack up and move on to another village. The sisters also used to visit the what was known as the poor house, because I remember even before I entered, I used to go with the sisters. What was very frightening for me was when they went to the so-called crazy house. You know, at the time it was known as
Sea View. Was it?
But many people refer to it as the crazy house.
Yeah. It was Sea View, then it became Rock View, and it went to Hattieville. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the work of the sisters too, besides being in the high school.
Yeah. And that was what I was speaking about in terms of being able to spread the reach of the work of the Pallotti Sisters beyond where you were based at the convent itself.
Yes.
You did quite a bit of outreach, and I think a lot of different communities have been exposed to a number of the sisters who are still around today. How many sisters do you have at the convent at this time?
Here at Pallotti Convent, we have 11, but in Belize, a country, we have 17.
Okay.
Orange Walk, Nazareth, Punta Gorda, and Pallotti Convent.
Yeah.
So tell us what it means to venture into this fundraising. I know that the convent is where you live, it's your sanctuary, it's your home. Tell us where the idea came from to reach out to the public so that they could give back to the convent.
Okay, a few months ago, we noticed that the convent is sinking very quickly, especially last year after Hurricane Earl.
Sinking from the ground?
Yeah, sinking into the ground. Yeah.
Yes, and the crack wasn't as tremendous as now. Now it's very obvious, and the steels are bending over. The veranda is like a wave, so you know it's dangerous. And then we thought, well, we have to do something. So the 1st of July, we called a meeting with all our sisters. The 17 of us came together. We had 2 facilitators to lead us through this meeting because it's a painful experience after we lived there 60-odd years. And we decided that something has to be done. We have to move out because right now it's not safe. So we are trying to empty everything out, but where do we put it? We are giving some to the poor, and anyway, one of the facilitators said, well, why don't we get a group together and let's do something. Now it's our time to pay back. Now it's our time to do something for you all. And so we got a financial group first, 4 of us, with Sandra McKay. And then she said, we need a bigger group. We need to have a telethon. So let's get a group with a lot of work. And so little by little, our group started to grow bigger and bigger. And more people are saying, I would like to help, I would like to be in that group. And that is how the telethon came about. And so we started to look for information. Where can we find information on what is this telethon? I've never done anything like this. And so they told me, well, it all depends how you push. If you push, the group pushes, then it will be successful. So that's where we began. 2-3 weeks ago, we started, and it was advised to try a telethon because it's a huge amount. Only the demolishment, which has to be soon, if not the building will drop by itself. But we are not ready yet. So that costs over $104,000.
Just to demolish.
Only to demolish.
Yeah. Beatrice, tell us about how you got involved with the telethon.
Well, I am a Pallotti graduate, right? I describe myself as a proud Pallotti. And I am one of those people who think that you need to give back. So some people will tell you that they see me every year at Pallotti Fair, selling tickets in the ticket booth. I've been working at Pallotti Fair maybe like 40 years. Yes, because I give back. And so Sister Consuelo called and asked if I'd like to be on this committee. And I said yes right away. Because it's worrying for me to think that this building could just collapse. And they'd be out of a home. And I think that we need to give back to Pallotti. Sister didn't say it, but this year, March, made 104 years that the Pallotti have been in Belize. In 2013, we had a Centenary Celebration. And I was a part of that too. And so whenever the nuns need me, they call me and I'm there.
And, you know, I appreciate what you're saying because I think that's one of the great opportunities you can tap into in fundraising is reaching out to your vast numbers of alumni who have left the school. What's been the preparatory work in terms of reaching out to these past students with the hope of them wanting to secure a safer convent for the sisters?
Well, we are going to be contacting them on the email account for the
Okay.
alumni, and we are hoping that they will respond.
Yeah.
Because we were talking that we have like 3,000 graduates, and if they give $50, those 3,000 people were already
Yeah.
above our target. So I want to appeal to the alumni to give generously.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, sisters, you're in a unusual experience or situation, because it's not very common that you would be requesting fundraising for yourself.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that it probably took some twisting of your arms to be able to do so. Sister Benedict, you know, a lot of times I think people don't consider the amount of work that the Pallotti sisters or that the religious community in the country contribute back to the people and to the communities that they work in. What would you like to say about having them now extend a hand back to you all to ensure that you have a proper, safe home?
Well, first of all, I would like to see the Pallotti sisters continue to grow here,
Yeah.
because, you know, when I look back to my life, I admire the work that the Pallotti sisters did in San Ignacio.
Yeah.
And I like to share a little bit about what it is that attracted me.
Mm-hmm.
They visited the homes after being in school all day. They used to visit the, and when we went to Mass, the sisters were always there. And on a few occasions when I would be at the convent, remember a little bell would ring about 5 minutes to 12 midday. I wasn't there early morning because in those days I still lived at home. But one thing that struck me is that the sisters would drop whatever work they were doing, stop working, and they went to chapel to pray. I boarded with the Sisters of Mercy and I observed the same thing. And that to me was a big attraction, that they left work to go pray to God. You know, and that taught me God is the most important, I will use the word person in my life. Nothing should take the place of God, or drop everything for God. And Pallotti Convent has been my home. I lived here at Pallotti Convent from 1962 until 2006. When I received that letter from Sister Consuelo about demolishing, I told the sisters, this is like a hammer hanging over my head. And for us Pallottines, this is our home. When sisters come in from the districts, Pallotti Convent is our home.
Yeah.
So I would like to appeal, and I will use an expression that I use very often. And just last week, one of my past students in Punta Gorda said to me, Sister, I was just telling my little sister when I was going to high school, over the PA system you addressed us as good morning angels and saints in the making. And I said, well, that's what we're here for. We are all still in the making. So I would like to appeal to all our alumni, please give us the support that we need. We have been there to help you, and I would like to see the Pallotti community continue in our country.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the plan. So after the demolishing and
Total cost.
and yeah,
What's the
Where-
estimated cost?
yeah, and also what's the plan for placing the Pallotti sisters to live after their home is gone?
Okay, we have an infirmary right beside the convent.
Okay.
It's not attached, but it's right there. And we used to have borders. So now we cannot have the borders this year. So we asked them, we told them our situation. And so we will be staying down there. It will be like sardine in a tin, but life demands sacrifice, and we are called to do that sacrifice. You know, so after the building is demolished, that's where we will be living. We will all fit in there somehow or the other.
Yeah. And what's the estimated timeline as it relates to gathering all the funds you need and rebuilding?
Well, for the demolishment is as soon as now.
So you've had an engineer check it.
Yeah,
I mean, this
we
is an
had
unfit
several-
building. It is
we had
14 inches under the ground and at the point of possible collapse.
Yes, we
Yeah.
have had several engineers come in, not one, several. And as they look out, they don't even want to go outside on the veranda because it's so dangerous.
Oh, wow.
The building is over 60 years old,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it is very difficult to stay there, but I believe that God is still taking care of us. And it's not only the residents that we think of, because, you know, I too am a graduate of Pallotti. And I lived there before. And the sisters gave their life to the people. And that attracted me to come back and be a religious. I always wanted a religious, but I looked around. But what Pallotti has meant for me and for the people of Belize, because in Pallotti, it's really like a resource house. You have people coming in for food, homeless, every week. You have every other week we give provisions to the poor, almost 70, 75 people coming weekly. We have counseling. Some of our sisters do counseling, a lot of counseling, people looking for a listening ear. And all that is taking place right now in Pallotti. So there are many ministries, and I see our ministries at stake if we don't move quickly. Because how will we continue if we don't? Maybe we will have to eat on the veranda. So our target is at least 1 million, at least. Maybe 800 for the more or less, but we are targeting for $1 million because only the demolishment and finding where to put our things. As I said, we are giving some things to the people who really are in need. So our plans is to still live there in a the minimal.
In the infirmary area.
Yes, yes.
Now, I mean, Pallotti is an iconic building. The convent is an iconic building, I think, in the Belize City landscape. And that, you know, when you talk about having spent most of your life there and the potential of losing it, I think for all of us in Belize, it's going to be a very different look. But I think the most important thing that you've pointed out is that it is unsafe. It has been deemed unsafe, and it has to be done. A target of $1 million. Your demolishment cost alone is over $100,000. How are you hoping to get this money? Are you hoping to get all the money through the through the telethon, or are there other mechanisms in place to be able to do so, to gain more funds?
Well, we'll be sending out letters to all the businesses, insurance, whoever, to our alumni. The idea is that in addition to sending those letters seeking pledges, then we have the telethon.
And how would the telethon work in terms of calling in and participating?
The details, it's actually going to be, the telethon is going to be in August, right? So right now your letters are out, and it's also a great opportunity for people to know that they can contact you and offer assistance without having to wait for a telethon.
That's the general idea. That's why we're sending out the letters early, so that people could make their pledge, they could return, tell us what they want to give us. And I want to say that in giving, it doesn't have to be a lot. If you can only afford $10, we would welcome that. Because I think that the Pallotti community deserve that. I want to use one example of how the nuns give their life to service in Belize. I don't know if you guys know Sister Therese. She's been in Belize since she was 16 years old. And she died here when she was 93. She gave her whole life for the people of Belize. And I think that it's very little that we're asking for the community to give back to assist them.
That's right. And a part of what you wanted to be able to share, obviously, is that the telethon is coming up. Do you have an account number that people can use? Or
Yes, we have at Holy Redeemer
Okay.
Credit Union Savings 6, and the account number is 74447. Easy to remember.
Definitely.
Pallotti Missionary Sisters.
Yeah.
And anyone can get involved starting from now. They can go to Holy Redeemer, make a deposit, or visit the Pallotti School while
Pallotti
it's
Convent.
Yeah.
Convent while
And one thing I would like to say, everybody's welcome for a tour at this point to see the necessity of a building.
Yeah.
definitely.
I was distracted a bit earlier because for your 100-year celebration, we did a story here for Open Your Eyes, and so we had the opportunity to talk to several of the nuns. And what was beautiful as well, and that's the one thing that's going through my mind, is your beautiful chapel, losing your beautiful chapel as well. But you know, I think oftentimes people don't realize how they can assist. Even like Eden Belize is a one full basket, and that's the message that you all can say today. If your alumni comes out, people who have been family members of past graduates, people who have somehow been impacted or simply just want to help, give what they can, and you'll be able to reach your target. Right?
Yes.
Anything else you all would like to say before we close off?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having us. And this is a very good opportunity for us to get to the community in Belize so that they know the needs of the Pallotti community. Thank you.
All right.
I would also like to thank all those who have supported us for the past 104 years.
Yeah.
All our people, the whole country, not just here in Belize, for all the support that they have given us.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Channel 5 too for having us here, but also our group of young women who are really behind this. They said, you will not do the letter, you have enough work to do. We are going to draft that letter, we are going to get the pledges, and you help us. So the support is tremendous. Doesn't have to be a Pallotti girl. It can be anybody who is willing to contribute their time, their support, whatever. We welcome everybody. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Not a problem, and we really do wish you the best of luck in being able to get the funds. Of course, people can also provide material, I'd imagine, if they want to donate cement or even labor.
In kind.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for what you've done, and we hope that we'll be able to get more people feeling generous. By the time you have your telethon, they would have made their commitment. So thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.